Is Wednesday, the 21st of April, 2021. This is the Fullerton Informer, folks. We're coming to you live on these busted up streets of Orange County, California. I want to welcome you to the broadcast. This is your host, Joe Imbriano, the Informer, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at thefullertoninformer.com. And by the way, folks, I think you need to spend a little time on that site and kind of go back over the years and see all the things that I've been trying to warn you about, because they're all happening, okay? And it's not that I'm some guru with a crystal ball. I'm not into wizardry or sorcery. I'm a Christian. And it's not that I'm some Illuminati stooge, because some of you think that I'm some Mason or some high-level government agent. Yeah, right. No, folks, it's because I have a brain that works, because I choose not to let it be controlled by those who attempted to control it. Today we're going to talk about the purpose of education, folks. And I want to kind of just go into a little bit of a description as to what education is. You know, education is not just a classroom. It's not an online Zoom class. It's not a lecture hall. It's not just that, okay? And education is a lifelong indoctrination process that has several different facets employed to achieve the goal. The goal of education is to control the way people think so that they can control the way that they live, so that they can control the ownership of the mind, body, soul, and spirit, and ultimately make human beings created in the image of God their property, and attempt to assert authority over the sovereign created being and hand their souls over to Lucifer, okay? Now, that is the purpose of education. The educational system is controlled by Satan. And Satan has a lot of different troops with boots on the ground on the face of the earth. And one of the best ways to determine who is working for Satan is to determine their position on Jesus Christ. You see, folks, Jesus Christ is the ultimate litmus test for the truth. Jesus Christ said he is the truth, the way, and the life, okay? He didn't say he was a way, a truth, and a life. He said he was the. Now, I didn't say that, he did. I didn't write that. It was recorded in the Gospels. It was recorded by eyewitness accounts when he blasted out of the tomb and reappeared after they tried to string him up and put nails in his hands and his feet and stick a spear in his side and rupture his heart, right? I mean, come on. Folks, the education system is a series of infrastructural items that we think are part of life, when in fact they've been erected to destroy our lives. I want to bring your attention to the first component of education that would enter the human being's existence. It's a television set. As in my case, it were children's cartoons and children's programming. In your case, it may have been video cassettes, and in your child's case, it may be television programs. But folks, the media is the first form of education that people are exposed to at a very young age. The educational system of the media is really designed to lay the foundation for the educational system of what comes later, which is academia. And academia is really just institutionalized trauma-based mind control that begins in kindergarten, when the bond between the parent and the child is severed by the government edict to send them away to teach them how to be logical, oh, responsible, oh, practical, oh, cynical, oh, intellectual. It's getting unbelievable, right? You see, folks, I remember the day that my mother dropped me off at kindergarten, okay? And I cried my eyes out because I just did not understand what was going on. I'm like, what are you doing? How could you abandon me? I had abandonment issues on day one. And that's a normal reaction because I had a very close relationship with my mother growing up because she stayed home and raised us, right? And so to be taken away from her, it was like foreign to me, right? Well, I got over it, and eventually the trauma-based mind control began to kick in, and you know, they had us singing songs and playing games and forget our parents, right? And then we got home, and then we saw our parents, and we got used to being Pavlovianly conditioned by giving treats and rewards and little star stickers, and you know, the system of acclimating us to taking over the role of our parents. Then it moves into first grade and second grade, and the whole time you're in these buildings that are run by the government or by a Christian church or a Christian school, there's always a globe on the desk, right? And a picture of an apple somewhere on the wall. Isn't that amazing, right? So they go on to teach you about these quadrillion-year-old trilobite fossils and how the sun's this big gas ball that runs on a fusion system and illuminates the Earth, and supposedly the Earth is some spinning ball and it tilts on its axis, and you know, just a couple of degrees, things 900 million miles away makes a difference of 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And everything is taught to us, and they'll bring in the people from the I remember they came in, and we had a lady dentist that came in, really pretty. I talked about this before. She came in and told us about how wonderful fluoride was for us, and handed out Colgate toothpaste, and you know, all these things, folks. It's all part of a system of indoctrination. And then you know, they come in and they, you know, I remember this doctor came in, it was like in second grade, and he was telling us how to wash our hands and told us about how important it was to make sure that, you know, our parents took us to the doctor regularly to get what they called back then were immunizations, right? That's what they were referred to when I was a child. And unfortunately, my parents had no clue about how the ways of the world were at the time. They were just going with the flow. You know, my parents were very simple-minded, you know, God-fearing people who just did what was right and did what they thought was right, and they did the best they could. And by the way, in spite of everything that was attempted to be done to me by the world, I still managed through the power of Jesus Christ to overcome all of that. And see, that's the message here, folks, because the educational system, although it may be pervasive in every aspect and element of our society, it is no match for the one who paid it all. The one who is the way, the truth, and the life. And once you get to know him, nothing can ever overtake the mind of Christ in you. I'm telling you, folks, you will never, ever, ever fall victim to their schemes and machinations if you put on the mind of Christ. That's what the Bible says. And once you have a relationship with Jesus, it's over for these people, folks. Now, that's why they got these phony churches to give you this fake, you know, this fake experience with, you know, these satanic lyrics that are blended in with Christian music. But, you know, I'm not going to digress into that. So the educational system is primarily designed at the stage of when you were actually in the institutionalized facility to train you to be part of the prison industrial complex by a prison induction facility layout and a prison induction treatment, as they administer trauma-based mind control through a Prussian education model of rote repetition, cramming as much useless crap into your mind that you can barely keep up with what's being poured in to have time to think. And that's the goal of education in the early years. It puts you up on what they want you to believe without understanding it, okay? So in the very early formative years of the educational system, you were taught the foundational lies of medicine, the foundational lies of heliocentrism, the foundational lies of electromagnetism, and all of these, all of the basic fundamentals of physics, like gravity, and all of these things. These are the bricks of the foundation of the system of corruption and mind control that will later on be the basis for your worldview as you get older. And so as you get into junior high, they begin to expose you to deviant sexual proclivities, so you will experiment and end up being psychologically damaged. So you will be ripe for the picking by a system of psychology and psychiatry and pharmacology that will obviously have another way in to your thought process, psyche, and mental and intellectual and sociological stability. Enter, if you will, the serotonin reuptake inhibitors, right? Well, as we get into high school, that's where they really let you have it, folks. And if any of you have raised children like I have, and have had high school children like I have, and have any of you ever stood out on the curb in front of the school trying to stop the parents from dumping these children off into these plexiglass weaponized Wi-Fi prisons like I had for years? I would be out there with my banners and signs trying to warn parents about the effects of the microwave weaponry that was put in with these wireless systems and these television sets that these kids keep in their labs. You would see children being dumped off by their parents in the wee hours of the morning, 6:45. They'd be asleep in the car. You know, some of them being driven in from great distances to these magnet schools, specifically Troy High School in Fullerton. It was a shame what I saw before zero period. These children were just, they're out, folks, right? They're just passed out, up all night doing homework, light on their Chromebooks or their iPads with their computer, and, you know, up all night reading homework, learning a bunch of stuff that they'll forget in like 2 weeks, and just getting dropped off at school before they should even be awake, and having their brains shrunk by the Adderall and the sleep deprivation as they go into the Wi-Fi. Now they got plexiglass and all these sanitized chemicals in there with the weaponized air conditioning systems, with the bipolar ionization, cold plasma, reactive oxygen species generating systems that are allegedly to purify the air. But my point is they have these children who are now young adults who have just been totally programmed to believe in things, you know, like NASA, like the American Medical Association, like the American Dental Association, like the American Academy of Pediatrics, like the World Health Organization, like the United States government, like the network television, the news networks, you know, Reuters, AP, and, you know, Bloomberg, and, you know, the Wall Street Journal. They're starting to get, they're starting to feel a little, I guess, massaged by these upper level educational entities that are actually designed and in place as postgraduate work for once you're done with school. That's what these media and publication elements are. They're actually advanced education for when you're done with your lower education. And so what happens throughout this entire process is you now believe that there is no God, man or woman for themselves, and the only way to be a success in life is to step on other people, and the only thing that matters in life is how much money you have and what kind of status you can achieve, how many letters you can have after your name, and how much respect and bootlicking you can basically receive from all these inferior people because you think you're so academically and intellectually superior. And those are the people that move up the chain, the people that feed off of that kind of narcissism, that are that close-minded to objective reality and instead accept the subjective reality that they've been force-fed, that they refuse to question. They then become themselves the purveyors of the proliferation of this subjective reality that is then used to continue the furtherance of the indoctrination process for those that come after them. And they install these people in different positions, in different levels of influence and infrastructure in these paramilitary organizations. Because whether you're dealing with something like the Catholic Church, with the bishops and the priests and the rectories, whether you're dealing with the Mormon Church, like the different stakes and the wards, and whether you're dealing with something like the school districts with the superintendents and the principals and the teachers, whether you're dealing with things like the media outlets where you have executive producers, screenwriters, you have researchers, you have sound directors. Whatever it is, folks, there is a hierarchical structure that's in place to make sure that these machines continue to crank out the products, which are brainwashed people. People who believe in aliens, people who believe in viruses, people who believe that the earth is a spinning ball, people that believe that things are floating around in the air that can make them sick, people that believe that the only solution to these problems is some guy in a white coat that spent 20 years in a trauma-based mind control system to take these pills or take these injections, and they'll solve the problem. As they, down the monster and eat the Twinkies and, put all the caramel coloring sodium benzoate phosphoric acid into their bloodstream that's loaded up with and aluminum in solution from these carbonated cans that they all come home with as they pack their shopping carts, right? And they eat all these foods that have ingredients that you can't pronounce, and lock themselves in their homes and close the windows and close the blinds with their dual pane windows. No ultraviolet light can come in through the sunlight. And they've got these 5,000 Kelvin LED lights in their homes, so they think they're saving energy, and they've got this white and blue light at night so they can't sleep, and they got this insomnia. And as they tell us in publications that are all over the spectrum that, oh my gosh, lack of sleep in old age leads to senility, but yet they give us everything to give us insomnia, like microwave transmitters and Wi-Fi and cordless phones and cell phones and wireless DVRs, wireless televisions, wireless keyboards, wireless headsets, wireless mouse, wireless laptops, wireless infertility pads, wireless Ring doorbells, wireless everything that gives us the blue light all over the horizon from the street lights, LED street lights, and the projector beam lights, and it looks like sunrise all night now. Nobody can get any sleep, so they're popping synthetic melatonin using their cell phone as what? An alarm clock under their pillow, as they develop some form of inoperable cancer as a result. And all the while they stay up all night watching the videos of the ants running around and people with blue plastic on and dishwashing gloves on and respirators on, walking around spraying people down with hydrogen peroxide and chloramine solutions for some sort of alleged pathogen that flies through the air at the speed of light. In the meantime, you go outside and all the birds in the trees, will they be singing so magically? And they still are, folks. You go outside, this morning I heard I heard all these birds. I went outside. You know what I saw this morning? I saw blue jays. I saw finches. I saw sparrows. I saw a woodpecker. I saw crows. I saw a falcon. I saw mockingbirds. I saw cowbirds. Okay? And those are just the birds. Then I saw hummingbirds, right? And why is this? No, I don't live in a fantasy land, folks. I live in a place where I planted trees, and I didn't follow the instructions to murder my landscape when the California Department of Bureau of Reclamation decided to murder all the landscape with their induced water shortage as they let all the rainwater run into the Pacific Ocean, right? See, folks, there's the world out there. And in spite of the fact that, I went to kindergarten, I went all the way through high school, and then I spent another 5 years in the university, I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a bachelor's degree in biological science. That doesn't mean I can't think. You see, folks, once I became a born-again Christian, once I got involved with Jesus Christ and the Word of God, everything that I was taught made sense, in the sense that what I was taught was designed to get me to find out what was really going on and to become a victim of the very things they had planned to harm me and my family. You see, folks, the purpose of education is to turn you in to their fool, to turn you into their B word, so to speak, right? So they can have their way with you and your children, and consequently your country, your nation, your state, your community. You see, everything you taught in school is worthless, okay? And let me tell you why. Because nothing that they teach you in school is really true. What they teach you in school is what they want you to fill your amazing mind with, so you'll never see and learn what would come naturally as a free, living, sovereign spirit and human being. Instead, they teach you become in bondage to corruption, a slave of fear, a slave of materialism, a slave of insecurity, doomed and destined to a life of ultimate damnation by your denial of the objective reality of what we live on, who put us here, why we're here, and what the purpose of our existence truly is. Because nothing in school will teach you the truth about what I just said. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, they never let you get off the hook. You know, some of you may have gone to, you know, 5th or 6th grade, and that was it. Like my father, he had to leave the farm and head to South America. Eventually, he had to work on the farm, didn't finish school, and before he had a chance to finish school, he had to go to South America, raise some money for his family in Italy, and he finally came over to the United States after a stint in Cuba. My point is, my father operated on about a 5th or 6th grade level of education his entire life, and he managed, right? Man could fix anything, and he knew two things, right? He knew that Jesus Christ was the way, the truth, and the life, and he knew that the only way to deal with the marriage was to live with your spouse until you die. That's just life. Those were the two things that were instilled in me without him having to say a word by the way he lived his life. My father was full of integrity. He couldn't lie. He didn't care about lying or stealing or cheating. He was happy being poor. He was happy being honest because he knew, and he told me, the ultimate value of a man's life is how well his children turn out. And it had nothing to do with college degrees. It had nothing to do with academia. It had nothing to do with status in society. It had nothing to do with the hierarchical placement in this pagan system of screwing everybody over. It had to do with what kind of integrity and what kind of life and what kind of happiness your children live out. Okay? And I'll tell you about my mother. She was the same way. Oh, she got us to church and made sure we had good food to eat and clean haircuts, and went to bed early and did what she could to protect us and kept us away from the bad things in life. Told us, warned us, prayed, and if we didn't listen, she was still praying. Right? That's just how my mother was. Okay. They did what they had to do. They protected us for as long as they could, and they let us wing. They let us go out and test out our wings, right? And when she saw that we got into areas that we didn't belong, she let it be known that, hey, I'm going to clip those wings. You keep it up. You're going to have to come in after the street light goes on. You want to ride your bike off the end of the street, then you're coming in before it gets dark. The fact is, folks, one of the things they do with this educational system is they treat you like you don't need parents, okay? They treat you like you can be raised by a village, and ultimately what happens is if mom or dad's not there, you end up getting your advice from the music. You see, that's graduate school. Once you're done with high school, the music industry kind of takes off in training your thinking, okay? And we know who runs the music industry. Now it's not a secret. They're literally out in the open. Many years ago, they would hide their pedophile lyrics in cryptic melodies that we don't really hear the lyrics. Now it's just out in the open. Now it's just in your face. But folks, the educational system doesn't stop in high school. It doesn't stop in college. It doesn't stop in grad school. It continues on with the nightly news. It continues on with the government propaganda outlets. And most importantly, folks, it continues on in the movies. You see, folks, the ultimate form of graduate school is Hollywood indoctrination. Okay? The music is like the music industry is like junior college. But the Hollywood movie industry and the Hollywood system of entertainment is like med school and residency. All right? And in this med school and residency for your mind through the Hollywood indoctrination system, we're taught what to think, what to believe, and how to react when they pull the trigger on us. Okay? And that's exactly what's happening right now. If you look back in all these movies, right? All these movies that they did back in the day, oh my gosh, the Andromeda strain, this thing comes from an outer space probe and then it infects the Earth and we got to contain it. Oh, we got to nuke a city. Listen. Then they say, oh, we got to race to develop a vaccine. Oh, we got to, in conjunction with it, we got to race to develop medications. It's always this new pathogen, that's supposedly a virus that they've never seen before, and there's always this rush to develop a vaccine, and there's always a rush to develop an antidote or medication. Okay, so You know, it's real easy to fantasize about something that doesn't exist and then come up with a solution to fix something that doesn't exist. All the while behind the curtain, they're pulling strings, making what does exist seem like it's being caused by the thing that doesn't, folks. And that's exactly where we are right now. Anywhere in school, as you sat there with your infertility pad in your lap, as you sat there with that Chromebook on your ovaries in college, young ladies, did they ever tell you about the weaponry that's been installed in these devices and their effects on the human eggs, the effects on your sleep, the effects of the color temperature coming off of the screen on your melatonin production? Have they ever talked to you about the flicker rate manipulation in your subconscious? No! They've got you so full of useless crap. They've got you doing calculus in high school, and you couldn't find your way out of a tin can at a tire factory. All right, this is insane, folks. You've got to understand. Nobody even understands where the money's coming from. They're printing it out of thin air, and it gets more and more worthless, and you have to work harder and harder for the tablet just so you can go on your little escape from the prison, right? The reason they've taken away the pencil and the paper is because you can't learn with a computer, and they know that. There's something about forming memory when you take a thought and then you translate it to written communication, okay? And when you're watching somebody write on a chalkboard and then you're writing it down yourself, it's double retention. When you're watching someone on a Zoom meeting, you can't help but toggle to the other 2 or 3 screens you got and watch the Netflix movie you didn't finish watching at 2 in the morning last night when the monster stopped kicking in. That's what they're doing to us, folks. The educational system is not what you think, and the goal of the educational system is to turn you into a mindless moron, to be harvested both physically and spiritually by these dark forces, right? Listen to me, folks. You need to just stop, okay? You need to listen to me. Forget all this high school suicidal Shakespeare, Macbeth, Dark Age garbage, okay? Why the heck are you putting your children through this garbage right now? Don't you see that the world that's out there is not going to be the same one that we had before everybody started wearing these face diapers? I drove by a school here, and everybody was walking around with masks on, even outside in the fresh air. We've got a marine layer and a little bit, it looks like a cutoff low that's come through Southern California. And the air is just so full of oxygen. All the plants are in bloom. All the leaves are green. There's so much oxygen in the air. The air quality is like totally superb right now. Total sea breeze coming in. You can smell the ocean. And everybody's got masks on outside. Unbelievable! Because they believe what the educational system has taught them. And I'm not talking about people that went to grad school, folks. I'm talking about people who go to the movies. I'm talking about people that watch Netflix. I'm talking about people that stay up late at night watching these horror movies, right? And believe me, folks, I peruse the stuff that's out there, and I know what they're up to. I know what they're doing. You want to know why I know what they're doing? Because they're telling us. They're telling us what they're doing, folks, because that's part of their Kabbalistic catharsis, and their method of forgiveness is by telling us in advance what they're going to do. That way they're absolved. That's their Pontius Pilate, wash their hands operation. All right? Now, you need to stop enrolling yourself in the in these grad schools, okay? You know, you want to take your child out of school, homeschool them, that's probably your best bet. But as far as your wife or your sister or your parents or your sons or daughters that aren't in school anymore, they really are, okay? They really are still in school. They're watching television. They're watching movies. They're watching the programming. That's why they call them programs, because they're programming you. And that's why they have this cast of characters, because they're casting spells on you. They use, what do you think Hollywood is, folks? It's a bunch of, well, they're winding it down now because their mission's practically accomplished. But the whole operation was a black magician operation, folks. It was spell casting to get us all in a trance, under a spell, to mind control us, and to get us to believe and think what they want us to believe and think. And all the movies and videos were on-the-job training, so when the day came, when something bad happened, we'd fall in line and behave just like they did in the movies. It's education, folks. It's not entertainment. Okay? Well, it is promising that only about 25% of the American people are that stupid that they lined up for this thing and got it. It's promising that they've hit the wall on this agenda. And now they got to go to round 2. And round 2 is going to be where they really start cranking up the weaponry and making people sick and drop. And by the way, you know, these vaccines are causing blood clots and all these things. May that be a warning to you that that these things are affecting the blood, folks. Okay. So, you know, do your homework and be aware, be awake. Now, for those of you out there who still want to be critical of me and call me names, we know who you're working for. Okay. You don't like Joe Imbriano because, you know why? Because Joe Imbriano's telling the truth. And by the way, you know, there's something to be said for the truth, folks. It stands on its own. You don't need me for the truth. I've put enough information out there to wake people up. And listen, folks, there have been a lot of videos. I've done probably 1,000 videos, folks. 1,000 videos, right? And I've covered all these issues. I'm gonna keep covering these issues. I'm not gonna sit here and feed you lies and make you think it's coming to an end. It's not coming to an end, folks. It's just changing. Okay, things are changing, and they're changing fast. And you want to know what you do? You just stay one step ahead of the curve. It's not that hard, folks. Listen to me. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And I don't care what kind of sin you've had in your life, what kind of things in your life. There are ways to stop sinning, folks. Look, it's a struggle. The Bible says that there is a war between the flesh and the spirit, okay? And it's a very, very big struggle for a lot of people, especially if you are watching television, okay? Listen to me. If you're watching the movies, you're setting yourself up for them to control your mind and your thoughts and your conscience, okay? And if you're going to continue listening to the music, can you please do me a favor? I want you to go to the internet, and I want you to type in the song that you're listening to, the name of it. And then what you need to do is look up the lyrics and then read the lyrics. And then look up the producer and read on the producer and look at a picture of the producer. And then look at the record company or the label that it's copyrighted under. And then look at the president of that record company. And then take a look at the picture of the president of that record company. And then Google Wikipedia on the record company president. And then read the lyrics of some of the other songs. Okay? And then look at the pictures on the cover of the CD or the album or whatever they call it, folks. And oh my gosh, will your eyes just open up? I mean, please, in the name of Jesus Christ, shut that crap off. Stop pumping it into your head. And you know, it's amazing they've got you enrolled in graduate school when you dropped out of high school with the music industry and with the movie industry. You're literally enrolled in a college of Satanism. Everyone's getting a PhD in Satanism and perversion by being enrolled in the University of Hollywood. Okay. And on top of that, they've got you delivering all of this mind control, this satanized, perverted mind control being delivered to you through weapons that are destroying your health. Through Wi-Fi systems, through these big black satanic electronic television, black scrying mirror Ouija boards called a smart TV. And then you got AirPods, you know, doing a job on your thyroid and your inside your ear, getting ready to triangulate the 60 gigahertz beam onto your face and take your breath away. Unbelievable, right? And then there are those of you out there that say I'm some sort of agent. Yeah. Yeah, I'm talking about all this stuff, and you know, I'm as open as a book. I use my real name, you know, and you guys want to, you know what, your mental cases if you want to call me names, okay? I mean, seriously, you know, go pick on somebody that's lying to you, asking for money. Am I on here asking for money? All I do is tell the truth and put myself and my family at great risk, because why? I don't have a choice. We're all going down if we don't fight this thing. They're going to get us all if we're all stupid. If we all go to their school and their junior college and their graduate school and take up residency in their house of horrors through the Hollywood Indoctrination University of Satan, they're going to get you. You understand me? They're going to get you. Because you're going to be putting Takis and Hot Pockets in your mouth, and you're going to be putting needles in your arm, and you're going to be putting stuff up your nose, and you're going to be drinking stuff through a straw eventually, hooked up to drip systems. And that is not the way God intended anything for those that he took 9 months to knit together in the mother's womb. Are you kidding me? Well, actually, no, I'm telling you the truth, folks. And for those of you who still want to deny it, good luck to you, because that's all I can say. All right, listen, I vigorously stand for the truth in my fellow man and woman and child on the face of this earth. And anyone that comes up against one of us, in the name of Jesus Christ, may you be damned. And may God have mercy on your soul, and may you not end up in that lake of fire, folks, because it's real. Let me tell you how real it is, folks. Jesus told us. He gave us accounts of the parables, right? And what happened to Lazarus, right? Remember Lazarus? I'll tell you. The guy used to sit outside this gate, and there was this big fat pig that had all this money, and he was pigging out every night, you know, and he was living in this castle, and who knows what he was doing in this castle, we don't know, right? And the guy's pigging out, and all this food's falling off the table, and, you know, this guy was outside the gate starving to death, you know, with all these sores all over his body, and the dogs come up and lick his sores. He was in such pathetic shape. And he just begged for the scraps that fell off this guy's table, right? Do you understand that there's a picture of somebody who had no mercy and just overindulging and screwing over other people, right? Well, what happened when these guys both died, it's amazing the rich man ended up in torment, right? We're told that this guy's in a place that's got this tremendous heat. He's, oh, Lazarus, he could see Lazarus in Abraham's bosom off in the distance. There's a great chasm between them. But these people that go to hell, they could see us, folks. And he's over there suffering, you know, getting his goose cooked, literally. He's, oh, could you just have Lazarus dip his finger in some water and cool my tongue, right? He's, oh, look, dude, you had it all here and you had no mercy, right? You didn't do what you could. All you had to do was get this guy to-go box for your scraps and maybe give him a shower and he'd have been fine, right? But you gave him nothing. So when we go through life laughing at the demise of those being victimized by the Christ deniers, I can tell you something right now, folks. It ain't going to be a good outcome for you. You've got to wake up and stand up and gird yourself with the armor of God and get ready to go after these agendas and warn everyone you know and love. We have to do this in Jesus' name, folks, okay? I'm going to cut out of here. You folks have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another broadcast of the Fullerton Informer, Joe Imbriano. P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. All right? FullertonInformer.com, 5GDangers.com, WiFiDangers.com, VaxDangers.com, CellTowerDangers.com. And don't kid yourself, folks. It all ties together. Make sure you tell everyone you know. Take care.